recording? Yes. Alright. So I got a good spot over here. Tapped it in. I'm going to tap a little farther. See, it's kind of coming out the bottom now. Eventually you'll get it to a point where it just kind of all breaks open. Maybe not with this screwdriver because it's so small. So we'll actually put the pry bar in here and just kind of do a couple pushes. There you go. Try to retrieve your screwdriver and just let it drain out for the most part. You can put your finger in here, pull out on this, get a faster drain going. And now you can remove these two upper ones. Make sure you keep tabs on these bolts. You're going to, if you're just doing the fluid replacement, you're going to be reusing them. I am not, but still good to keep them anyways. Alright, so I'm not sure how long it's been since this was last done. And you could take a good look at health based on the condition. If you see stuff in it, the fluid doesn't look horrible. It's kind of foamy in some areas. But what really concerns me is not that. It's what's in the pan. So, in the sun. If you see right there, that's a magnet. And that has a ton of metal shavings on it. So, it's probably been a while since this person has changed it. They probably drove it pretty hard. It's not always the greatest, but that is what it is when you buy a used vehicle, and you live with it. It doesn't look like it's in horrible condition, the spline back here, but I'm just going to take a light and look to see what the damage is like inside. Either way, I will not be replacing it currently. I'll probably just let it fucking, excuse my language, I'll just let it fall apart before I replace it. So, I'll be back. Okay, now that it's pretty much done drying, you gotta remove all of this RTV that's on there. So, good idea, get a razor blade scraper or a regular scraper and just go to work. You can use sandpaper, just be careful, don't go too crazy. Try not to use like a screwdriver to pick at it because you'll end up scratching it. And then also what I'll end up using is like a Brillo pad just to finish it off. But the heavy stuff you definitely want to use a scraper. So I'm going to get to that and I'll be... Okay, at this point, if you look and you see the mating surface of the cover, you see it's pretty clean. I got all the shit off. You're gonna have to do the same thing to the diff cover itself if you're reusing it. I'm not, so I'm not gonna waste my time. If I ever have to reinstall it, I'll do it then. But now you're gonna take brake cleaner and you're just gonna spray the inside of the diff. Keep the pan here, you know, so it'll all drain down onto that. And you're probably going to use most of it. I like to use the non-chlorine version of it because the chlorine one makes you feel like you're going to pass out every time you use it. Either way, I still put, you know, my shirt over my nose and my mouth, so I'm not breathing the fumes in directly. Although right now I have a cold, so my nose is stuffed completely, so I'm not too worried about it. But just you know, spray the gears down, spray inside. Make sure you spray the bottom. Oh, it's still pretty potent stuff. Now I'm going to put my shirt in front, and I'm just going to keep spraying for a bit. Make sure you shake it up pretty good too. It always helps. And then I'm just going to let that drip out. Once the drip gets a little slower, I'm going to take a piece of paper towel, and I'm actually going to fold it up a couple times so it's a little more absorbent. And I'm just going to stick it under here. There's like a little bump under here that collects oil, so in order to get it all out, you're going to want to do that. So just leave it there, let everything dry. Brake fluid dries pretty fast, so you know, you're not looking at anything more than a couple minutes. So if you want, you can start getting all your other stuff ready. Another thing a lot of you guys are going to have to do if you're reusing your cover, clean off your bolts. Your bolts got a lot of that RTV crap on it, so clean those off. You know, make sure you have them all. And then also make sure you have your tag. I'm going to take a look at my new covers and see if I can actually put the tag in the same spot on them. If not, I'm just going to put them in a Ziploc bag and leave them in my glove box. You know, it's never really a problem, but if you someone else is working on your truck, say, you know, you're not at home, you don't have your tools, you can't do it yourself, and they get this and all, they say, oh, this guy, you know, he's got an aftermarket diff cover, it's a Data 70. That's all he's going to look. This will have more information that people actually look for to tell fluid type and that kind of stuff. Either way, I'm putting the 75W140 synthetic front and rear. I don't tow that much, and they recommend it for heavy duty service, but if you see my truck, it is it's got 37-inch tires on it, so as far as I'm concerned, it's pulling more than its regular load every single day just trying to move these tires. So, you know, no point in cheaping out on something you only have to do every 30,000 miles. As you see, that came out pretty soaked. Probably going to do another piece of paper towel just to make sure I got most of it out, because you get a lot of sediment collects down there too, just the way it's designed. Everything that drains out, it comes through the back, but then it ends up there. So heavier stuff's going to fall down and just sit in there. That's what we're trying to avoid. So it's looking pretty dry now. And like I said, it doesn't really matter if it's dry. You're just going to be putting more fluids in here anyways. Just, you know, if it's dry down here, then that means you probably got most of the dirty oil out. So last step, just going to take that paper towel, take a new piece, and dry off the face. You know, you're going to be putting the Mag Hytecs have an O-ring seal, so you just want to make sure the O-ring is going to seal right. So just dry it off, and then I'll be back. Okay, so I got my new diff cover here. It's got the O-ring design on the inside. The installation instructions say put a nice coating of new gear oil on the O-ring to help sealing surface. So I'm going to take some of the diff fluid. Basically, I'm just gonna open it. I'm gonna tip the bottle onto my finger. It's kind of like what you guys do when you change your oil. So get your finger good and coated, and then you're just gonna run that along the O-ring. You know, don't Don't try to stretch it out too much. Just, keep dipping your finger in, running it along so that it all looks, like it's got a good coating on it. And then basically these covers are, someone's going to say, oh, big baby, big weak arms. But I did the transmission pan, and on this truck, transmission pan is pretty heavy because it's a beefier unit. But holding your arms out straight forever is a pain in the butt, and when you're just trying to line one thing up, it sucks. So I'm just going to take one bolt, put it through the top, and I'm just going to put it through here, hold the bottom of the cover, and then you're just going to line it up and start it by hand. Now, the reason I said just doing the one bolt is because I didn't you're supposed to put the washer. So now that it's held up, it's going to be easier. Grab the rest from the kit, and you're going to put, the kit also comes with some Allen keys, which is nice for installing, or for at least just hand tightening them. I like to use torque wrenches, and I like to use my socket bits for most of it, but since it comes with them and I didn't grab them yet, we're just going to be putting them in hand with that. So get the washer, got your bolt, alright, go in the hole, line it up with the cover, and you're just going to do it by hand for right now. Alright, it might help. I'm going to do that side when I move over. So I'm going to do this side because I can actually see on the side of the cover. And I'm just going to start by hand. Once it catches, I know it's good and it's not cross-threading because I can still do it by hand. I'm going to move on to the next one, which is right here. That one's getting seated nice. So now I can come up here, move this top one, come back, put a washer on it, and now I have to lift the bottom just a bit, and got that started. So I'm going to do the remainder of the bolts finger tight, and I'll be back.